Hey everyone, it's Cal. I'm back in the little house again, and I wanted to just touch a little bit on authenticity because authenticity is what we really, really want. This is what really gives the great joy. First of all, being authentic, and then secondly, having authentic experiences and attracting authentic people because like attracts like. And this being true to the self is something that we really have to work on every day. And usually because we are being bombarded by media all the time. Oh, this is going on. You need to know this, or, you need to do this in order to be a certain way, or you need to do this in order to get that. And quite frankly, I'd have to say about 99.9% of all media is wrong, and it's misinforming you, and it's fragmenting your being. And really what you want to be is unified and whole and getting to the core of your authentic self. And the more you try to be as honest to yourself and move out of the denial state, which is really hard to do. I spent like most of my life in the denial state, letting some things in, but so not letting others, and being very judgmental about a lot of things. And letting go of that judgment is hard to do because, as we grow up, judgment helps us know things. Judgment helps sort of steer our boat in this world that we're coming into. But there comes a point where we have to let that judgment go. And that doesn't mean just be a fool and wander around what it does mean is having a certain amount of sorry, I'm distracted by someone's yelling outside in the neighbor's yard there. I've never heard anything like that in my 8 years of coming here. Uh, but having a certain amount of discernment, but understanding when you're going from the basic discernment into judgment, because being true to the self is being true to others as well. And it doesn't matter what they're doing, it matters what you're doing, because what you're thinking and what you're doing is going to be affecting you. And that experience of that person who has that different vibration and is in your orbit, the more you hone yourself, if that person isn't in that high vibe, authentic vibration that you're in, they will just drop off eventually. And I know it's difficult because when you're in a family and they're doing all these crazy things, because believe me, I was brought up in a family that I thought, oh my God, these people are nuts. What are they doing? And that's when I started going into myself and not sharing anything about me. I think I was 11 years old. I wanted to be a minister. I wanted to go to the School of God. I didn't know what it was called because I lived on this farm out in the middle of nowhere, but I certainly wasn't going to tell my family that because they thought all religious people were weaklings and uh, you're using your religion as a crutch. And quite frankly, I've had the opposite experience. If you have a religion or your own religion, and I never had the time to really learn any religion, but I learned the religion of my own, which is quite natural. The more you follow that, the more you go into joy. And the more you follow that, yeah, joy, like adventure, because that inner world knows you and knows where to take you for you, knows what you'll like. And I have to say, like, I've had some fantastic adventures. I've had a lot of them alone because I found a lot of the time people just weren't, because people are so different, right? They just weren't into it. They weren't into, some of the crazy adventures that I've done, at 17, flying up and, living with Eskimos and then hitchhiking across Canada, and goodness knows what I was doing back then. A lot of people didn't want to do that. They don't want to rough it for the adventure. Everybody has their own idea of what's good for them or what they would like to experience. And it's their inner self that knows the truth of them. So, you know, trying to convince others, I just left that in the wayside, because almost taking a person with me was kind of like having this crutch I had to deal with all the time. Oh my gosh, I had to, you know, appease the person, and the person, you know, had so many demands on the situation. So yeah, so becoming authentic, becoming whole, and becoming less attached to what the world says is important. And I'll tell you, one of the things, just one of the things that I've had with me, I think my whole entire life was, you know, owning a house is really important. Like, you really need to own a house. And I carried that with me forever. And I was just really busy in life. I never got down to getting a house, because where I live, houses are super expensive. Like a little, uh, a little a studio is $1 million where I live. I thought, oh God, I'm never going to be able to afford a house, this house thing. Then finally, I had a house. So I had a house, and I went, wow, this house is really, I think I mentioned this in another video, this house really takes a lot of effort. I mean, the roof is taking so much money and so much attention out of my life. Like, it's not just the money, it's the attention, the getting the people, the getting them here, the having them fix it, the checking it, and what if something goes wrong? And then, you know, all the things that go in the house, heavens, things are breaking and they need repairing. And then, you know, it wasn't just this, it was property tax, and it was, you know, when do I pay that? How do I, and all this juggling of all the things. And I came out of that with a, wow, I hate owning stuff. That was a big cure. I had a really big house on a property, and that was the biggest cure for me. It was like, no, thank you. And so slowly I'm getting back to, I won't say carefree living, but I will say less obstacles in doing what I want. And less, just less having to worry about all of the things, and organizing the people to do the stuff and to be there. And I know to some of you, I might sound very naive and short-sighted, and I get that. I truly, truly do. And having a little condo that is with other people, maybe that you like or know, or maybe that's a good thing for sure. But I'm saying that it had haunted me for such a long time, and then finally I got it royale, and then I was like, after a year of it, I was like, get me out of here. Yeah, I love it, but I mean, what is it really giving me? I can downsize from this. Less is more. So that's just one of the things when it came to really looking at who I was and what I need and what is important for me. And you know, that experience that I had, finding out what really worked for me and what doesn't, I mean, it was really a wake-up call. I was like, wow. And from that point, I went, well, what else doesn't work for me that I think I want? And, you know, it's the mind. The mind's going, yeah, I need to have that. Everybody says that that's what you need to do, so I need to do it because that's a milestone and I definitely need that. So questioning all these things due to who you are, I think is really necessary for authentic living, because I've noticed that when I went to pack my suitcases to fly back on Saturday, the first thing I packed was my rollerblades. And I thought, geez, these are so heavy. I mean, I can only take this much. I mean, I should get them out. And then I thought, no, wait, I love rollerblading. Forget that. I took all the dresses out that I'll never wear. I took all the shoes that I'll never wear. I took everything out, and I just put my pants and my rollerblades and I think a hairbrush and a couple other things, done. And I thought, what if I need this other stuff? Yeah, what if? Well, I've noticed traveling over the years, because I've done this many times before, that I never have needed anything that I've left behind somewhere. And it's interesting because we think we need all this stuff, but we really don't. What we really need is to know the self. To know the self is the pivotal point of establishing everything in your outside world, to know the self. And I don't want any of you to leave that for as long as I did, even though I've been on a really long quest to know the self small, the self grand. But it has still taken a really long time. All these things I thought were me are just not me. So starting with the self and is really being true to the self. What really works for me? What would I like? What can I not live without? And I mean, those things can really change over the time, but I'm really talking about the things that really don't change. I'm sure when I'm 90, I won't need those rollerblades. But there were other things. When I started thinking rollerblades, I started thinking in terms of, boy, what gives me an experience? What makes me happy? Like what brings health? Like I started thinking in those kind of terms. And I'll tell you, I cut that luggage right in half. So I just wanted to pop on and talk a little bit about being true to the self and really what that means, and really the power lies in your emotions, because when you really understand how you feel about things, that really gets you in the seat of authenticity. So I hope that this video, I hope you got something out of this video, and it's nice to see you here, and I hope you'll join us if you haven't already joined. And if you haven't joined the webinar, I'm going to be giving a webinar. I'll put a link below and you can see what it's all about. It's all about the self, and I'd love to see you there. It's really cheap. We just use the money to feed the animals here. And that's it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.